Hi there, small groups. In my message this weekend, I had a very long intro about Mother's Day. And depending on when your small group is meeting, you could take a moment to actually talk about Mother's Day. What is it like for you? What did you do for Mother's Day, especially if you are a mother or you spent time honoring a mother? I shared about Mr. Rogers and his acceptance speech for his Lifetime Achievement Award, Emmy, when he invited everyone to think of the special people who loved us into being. I invited you in my message to think of people who mothered you and nurtured you. I call them bonus moms. And I encourage you to tell them how much they mean, what their love and investment meant to you. In your small groups, share about anyone that comes to mind who has loved you into being. Then I shared about my personal mixed bag when it comes to Mother's Day, the tender part of what this day has meant for me in the recent past. I shared from my experience that there are some people who would tie God's faithfulness to the things he never promised for me. For me, that was a baby in a season of infertility, but I think that this happens across many aspects of difficulty and suffering. It's important to get the theology right, that God's faithfulness extends far beyond our circumstances, but he is generous. If you'd like, have you felt that tension? Or what do you think about the relationship with grief, God's faithfulness, and his generosity? As Pastor Jeff said recently in a message, we can't have a theology of miracles without also having a theology of suffering. From there, I went on to the actual message, all about being present and having a radical attention on Jesus. We talked about my story, right? My rushing, hurry, my internal restlessness, and God's invitation to me, which was to slow down. God is not a God of restlessness, but a God of rest. I read a couple of quotes that I want to give you again because I think they're so good. The first one is Dallas Willard. He said, "Hurry is the great enemy of spiritual life in our day. You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life." Corrie ten Boom said, "If the devil can't make you sin, he'll make you busy." And John Ortberg, "For many of us, the great danger is not that we will renounce our faith. It's that we'll become so distracted and rushed and preoccupied that we'll settle for a mediocre version of it. We'll just skim our lives instead of actually living them." In your small group, share your experience with busyness, rushing, or hurry. Do you struggle? Do you ever feel internally restless? Do you think culturally we've lost the ability to be patient, to be present, and to be at peace? And from there, I dove into the famous account of sisters in Mary and Martha in Luke 10:38-42. I'd read it together and then talk about who you relate to more, Mary or Martha. I describe this account being all about attention and distraction. Mary is the picture of radical attention to Jesus, and Martha is the much more familiar picture of well-intended distraction. So where are you at today? Another quote for you. John Mark Comer, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, which I highly recommend if you're looking for a new read. But this is what he says. "What you give your attention to is the person you become. Put another way, the mind is the portal to the soul. And what you fill your mind with will shape the trajectory of your character. In the end, your life is no more than the sum of what you gave your attention to. That bodes well for those apprentices of Jesus who give the bulk of their attention to him and to all that is good, beautiful, and true in this world. But not for those who give their attention to the 24/7 news cycle of outrage and anxiety and emotion-charged drama, or the nonstop feed of celebrity gossip, titillation, and cultural drivel, as if we give it in the first place. Much of it is stolen by a clever algorithm set out to monetize our precious attention. In the end, your life is no more than the sum of what you gave your attention to." The convicting words of Jesus to Martha is that Mary chose what is better. I read parts of Matthew 6 about not worrying and staying in today and choosing first his kingdom and his righteousness. You could read this passage as well. Then talk about what practices do you have in place so that you could choose what is better, so that you could seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. Now, I know that's a lot. Feel free to go wherever your conversation leads. You don't have to be married to any of these suggestions, but I hope that it's a blessing to you. May you together spur one another on towards being present in the moment of your life, being present to the movement of God in you and through you with a radical attention on Jesus. Amen. Love you guys. Take care.